John again, commandzone.com. Today we're going to look at Talrand Sky Summoner, okay? Talrand is 2 colorless, 2 blue. Legendary creature, right? He's a 2/2. And his rules text says, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, put a 2/2 flying drake into play, just like one of those. The goal of this deck is obviously to have a million drakes in play, and they just stomp face. That's what the deck does. It stomps face with a bunch of drakes. So, how do we get there? Let's take a look at some mana. I run 30 lands in this deck. I consider this deck a blue-brown deck because I believe there are at least 33 artifacts in the deck. A lot of them are mana acceleration, which is very much needed in mono blue. Mono blue wants as much mana as possible at all times. And so let's get that started with the mana itself. So we start with the fetch lands. All of them we have. We have Flooded Strand, Polluted Delta, Misty Rainforest, and Scalding Tarn. The reason I run those, one is just to thin the deck slightly. I don't want to draw too much mana late game, so I can thin the deck out slightly. It's not very much. We might want to actually take those out because I do run a card which does not work well with those. But it's just 4 cards, and we're going to keep it for now. Looks nice. All right, next one, utility lands. We got Academy Ruins. I do not play Mindslaver, so there's no Mindslaver lock in this deck. But it just functions for really great utility. I do have a lot of mana acceleration, like I said. It gets back Phyrexian Metamorph, a Gauntlet of Power, or whatever. Something like that, a Soul Ring, okay? Anytime people kill any of my artifacts, which they probably will, they're going to destroy them as fast as they can. Academy Ruins is going to help me get them back. If you've read any of my articles on commandzone.com about mana base or consistency, you know that I'm a proponent of very, very, very few colorless mana producing lands, okay? Because I don't like how they function in decks, especially when you want consistency in your deck. Check out my article, by the way, on consistency for deck building. But anyway, in mono blue, I think that the amount of colorless lands can greatly be used, or you can have more in your deck than normal, just because it is mono colored. So anyway, we'll continue with that theme, and we'll go with 2 more lands for that, which is Wasteland and Strip Mine. Those two, they're very, very much needed in this deck. You're basically playing a waiting game with your opponent until you can kind of go off. So what the Strip Mine and Wasteland do is that they will help you conserve your energy, counter spells, draw all this stuff until you really need them. So we like those for early game. Get rid of a Cradle or whatever it is that you don't want to deal with. Next one is Ancient Tomb. Ancient Tomb is a very good land. It allows you to ramp out very quickly. The 2 points of damage you take by using it is negligible. It doesn't matter. So put that in your decks. Every deck should have Ancient Tomb in it. Lonely Sandbar. Lonely Sandbar is a good card for cycling. That's all it does. Never put it into play tapped. It just cycles, okay? If it's in your opening hand and you want to play it turn 1, do it. But if you ever draw it, never play it, cycle it. It's only a cycler. Next, we have Seat of the Synod. I play this for 3 reasons. 1, it's an artifact. I can tutor with Trinket Mage. 2, it helps with Metalcraft for my Mox Opal. And 3, it can be discarded to a Thirst for Knowledge. Alright. The last utility land in my deck is Reliquary Tower. Obviously, we're drawing a lot of cards with this deck, so we want to be able to keep them there. Alright. The rest of the lands, there are 19 islands. Alright. I don't know why I'm putting them out like this, but I'm doing it anyway. You can see there are 19. Okay. So the mana base, 30 total. I have 19 basic islands, and I have 11 utility lands. If you are looking to make this deck, you can run 30, you can run 32, 34, 28, whatever it is. It all kind of depends on how much or how many mana rocks you stick in the deck with it. I have put in as many as I could find, and let's get to that. Let's start with the mana acceleration now, so here it comes. We'll start with the free stuff. We have Everflowing Chalice, which is pretty good. We have Mana Crypt, Mox Opal, and Mana Vault. Well, let's talk about the zeros actually real quick. Some people would say, John, where is the Mox Diamond or where is the Chrome Mox? I don't really like them very much. I don't like having to exile one of my my strong playables in my deck. I have 99 really, really good cards in my deck, and I don't want to lose any of them. Especially with the Mox, because the Mox Diamond, because I only run 30 lands. We want to make sure that we hit our land every turn. Okay, we want to make our land drops every turn in blue, and the only way to do that is to not throw them away. So, no Mox Diamond. Alright. The last one drop mana rock is Soul Ring. Obviously, we're going to have it. Let's move to the twos. Felwar Stone. Mind Stone. Alright, as well we have a gold bordered Grim Monolith. Don't look, don't look, don't look. I'm sorry. I'll try and get a real one. And we have the second copy of Soul Ring right there, which is copy artifact. On to the threes. The third copy of Soul Ring, Sculpting Steel. And the fourth copy of Soul Ring, Phyrexian Metamorph. Phyrexian Metamorph, great blue spell. He is a auto-include every blue deck. For me, he is a copy of Soul Ring. For you, he could be a copy of, I don't know, whatever, a banned Primeval Titan or whatever. But he's a very good card. Put it in your decks. Next one, Coalition Relic. After that is Extraplanar Lens. Very good card in monocolored decks. You should have him. Gauntlet of Power. Talrand Dynamo. Gilded Lotus, and last but not least, certainly not least, Sapphire Medallion. That is it for the mana ramp. Let us move to, let's go to the creatures. How about that? We'll go to creatures next, and we'll take a look at those. There are very few creatures in this deck, though I do have a few, and we'll look at them real fast. First one's Trinket Mage, for obvious reasons. He gets my Seed of the Synod, he gets all my, mana ramp. So he is obviously needed. I like him a lot. He does nothing but fetches for an artifact, and then he dies a humble death. That's Trinket Mage. After Trinket Mage is Phantasmal Image. Goodbye, other generals. I do not really negotiate with other decks, you could say. I do not interact. So Phantasmal Image takes care of those other guys that I don't like to deal with. He can also copy a guy like this. Consecrated Sphinx. Very, very good. As you know, staple blue EDH card, commander card, whatever the name is, put them in your decks. One of the better cards in my deck is Grand Architect. I do have a lot of artifacts, as you have seen. The Drakes make colorless mana, which is kind of neat, off of Grand Architect. And so basically, when the Drakes come in with Summoning Sickness, you can cast all of the artifacts in your deck very quickly. And one of those artifacts would be Solemn Simulacrum. Solemn is the epitome of the creature that I want in my deck. He comes into play, he ramps me, he blocks a dude, he dies. I draw a card. He's cool, I like him, I'm happy. Next one, Snapcaster Mage. Probably about half of my deck is a bunch of instants and sorceries, so obviously we want Snapcaster Mage in for various reasons I will not explain. The last creature, which is a very, very, very strong creature in Commander. You don't really see him a lot, and I think it's kind of a shame. We need to see more of him, is Tomorrow Azami's Familiar. Let me read him off for you. He's a 1/5 legendary creature. Good build-around card. Rules text says, if you would draw a card, look at the top 3 cards of your library instead. Put one of those cards into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. He's basically a preordained. Every time you draw a card, I draw lots of cards. He's very, very, very good. Alright, let's get him out of here. Next ones, what do we got? We have the bread and butter of my deck, the draw spells. Alright, so here we go. We'll start off with Ideas Unbound. It's not very good. It only really tends to have any kind of strength on the turn when you really want to draw your whole deck. So it's good and it's efficient in its mana cost, but the negative aspect of the card, which is discarding 3 at the end of your turn, is pretty hefty, and so if you're not going to go off on that turn, do not play this card, okay? It's going to hurt you in the end. Next, Cataxian Probe. It's a nice cantrip. It's free. Let you know if your opponent can do anything to your board, can stop you, whatever. Good card. Continuing on, we have Ponder, which is a nice one. Ponder looks at 3 cards. We all know it. The next card we have on our list here is Preordain. After that, we have Careful Study. Careful Study is very good as well. I really like Careful Study in my deck. It allows me to get rid of those lands that I don't want and kind of refill my hand with the instant sorceries I do want. So anyway, let's continue on with more one-drop cards here. We have Brainstorm. Yep, whatever. Serum Visions. Any more one? No, nothing for one. Alright, let's move to the twos. We have Peer Through Depths. Nice all-around cards, pretty good. We have Think Twice. It's okay. I'm not really in love with it, but it gets the job done, so we'll keep it in for now. We have Impulse. So now you're asking, wow, I have a lot of 1 and 2 mana cost spells. Why do I have all the mana ramp? That's a good question. Here's the answer. We have cards like Merchant Scroll and Mystical Tutor. And what those guys do is they need to find mana sinks. So there are a couple mana sinks in the deck. We have 1, Blue Sun Zenith, and 2, Stroke of Genius. Some of you are asking, John, why don't you play Mind Spring or Brain Geyser? Because they are sorceries and these two are instants. And I don't like sorceries, so I try and stay away from them as much as possible. Alright, another one. Recurring Insight, yes, sorcery, but extremely powerful, especially if you play it on turn 4. You end up drawing 10 cards off it. It's very, very cool. After that, Thirst for Knowledge. That's our Seed of the Synod Sack Outlet. Frantic Search, more free draw. You cannot say no to free draw. It's pretty cool. Compulsive Research. Deep Analysis. Gush. And the last draw spell in my deck, Brainstorm. If you're asking where is Fact or Fiction, it's an oversight. It should be in the deck. If you decide to build this deck, put Fact or Fiction in and take Serum Visions out. There you go. Alright, next. Let us now go to, let's see, what should we do? Let's go to the counterspells. Not many. When I first built this deck, I had many counterspells. I had, I think, maybe 13 or 14, and it was just way too many. I found myself drawing just counterspells all game. I had no draw, and it really didn't work out. So the moral of the story for you kids is not too many counterspells. I play 8. I think it's more than enough. We'll start with counterspell itself. Hey, look at that. We have Deprive. Sorry, some of my cards are in Japanese. I live in Japan, so I have a lot of Japanese stuff. Okay. Forbid. Forbid is very good. Counter a spell with buyback of discard 2 cards. Very nice when you discard lands. Works out in the end. Arcane Denial. It's a very nice one. Hinder. Good for generals. We have Mindbreak Trap for the combo. And the one counterspell I don't really like, which is Desertion. And it will probably come out for something a little bit more efficient, maybe a Dissipate or something like that. But it's in right now. It's kind of fat. It takes up a lot of room. I don't really like it to be so heavy, but whatever. Last one, Force of Will. Alright, 8 counterspells, not that many. But, a blue deck needs a couple, so you got to put some counters in there. Alright, let's get to the accessories, as you would call it. Call them some accessories here. The first weird one, I kind of talked about it earlier, is Mindlock Orb. Mindlock Orb is pretty cool. It's one of those cards that not many people play in EDH or Commander, but it's really strong. A lot of decks, actually probably all of them, are playing with a lot of search, a lot of tutors, a lot of fetches. And as Commander grows, people are getting better and they're making more competitive decks. And competitive decks usually tend to have a lot of tutors in them. My deck does not, simply because I draw a bunch and I naturally find them very quickly, whereas a lot of people don't. So Mindlock Orb is very good at slowing down games. They kind of have to deal with it. You find a lot of decks really have to deal with it before they can even move on with their deck progression. So and their board progression. So I would suggest putting this in a lot of your control decks. It's pretty good. I do have cards that don't work with it, like Merchant Scroll, Mystical Tutor, and the 4 fetch lands, but that's only 6 spells, and other than that, I really don't have any. So I think it's good enough for me to play, and I run it. I'm defending my Mindlock Orb. Next, Isochron Scepter, very good. Put some permission under there, put a counterspell under there, put a, Deprive, put something else under your Isochron Scepter that costs 2 or less and does fun things. Good card. You have to be able to support it though. All right, after that, let's see. We have a top. Don't have to talk about that one. Capsize. Capsize is very good with all that artifact mana I am making. I need to sink it somewhere. Capsize is very good for that. Lightning Greaves protects my Talrand. Gotta protect Talrand. Two spells that work together. Well, not really work together, but they work pretty well. Time Warp and a Time Stretch. Time Stretch says take 2 turns. Cost 10 mana. It's quite a bit. Alright, next one. Here we go. Another one of those cards that is slightly undervalued in Commander, but is very good. And if you're playing a reactive deck like this one, any reactive deck with blue, I suggest you put it in. It is very, very good. And that card is Soothsaying. And it's pay X, look at the top X cards of your library, and put them back in any order. It may seem a little bit slower than top, but when you get later on in the game, and you have 9-10 mana available, and you have nothing to do with it, Soothsaying is a very, very good way to stay friendly. Okay, so play Soothsaying. Now, those are the kind of oddball, funny cards. The accessories. Next is the win conditions. Win conditions and combo cards. So if we want to win with a bunch of big drakes, we're going to play these two. Coat of Arms. Alright, Coat of Arms says creatures on the battlefield get +1/+1 for each other creature that shares a creature type with it. So it's Coat of Arms. If I have 5 drakes in play, they all get +4/+4. So that's pretty cool. Having big drakes is really fun. And the next one is Akroma's Memorial, reprinted in M13. Akroma's Memorial says, if I can remember correctly, it says that creatures get haste, flying, first strike, vigilance too, maybe? I don't know. I don't want to read. And protection from black and red. It's pretty good. It's a little expensive. I might take it out, but it's in the deck for now. Alright, now to the real combo breakers. We have High Tide, Time Spiral, Turnabout. I think we all know what those 3 do. They allow me to just keep playing. Alright, the next one works with them very well, and it is Bosium Strip. Bosium Strip is another one of those underplayed cards for reactive decks that have a lot of instants and sorceries. You need a lot though. You need probably over 30 in order to make this card good. So it's tap 3 until the end of turn. If at any time the top card in your graveyard is an instant, interrupt, or sorcery card, you may play that card as though it were in your hand. If you do so, remove that card from the game. Okay, usually my games go, I play a bunch of instants and sorceries, I tap my Bosium Strip, and I play them all again. It's very, very good, very strong, puts a lot of drakes into play. Alright, next one. Parallel Thoughts. Parallel Thoughts is another one not a lot of people play, but it is pretty good in combo decks. Parallel Thoughts says, when Parallel Thoughts comes into play, search your library for 7 cards, remove them from the game in a face-down pile, and shuffle that pile. Then shuffle your library. If you would draw a card, you may instead put the top card of the pile you removed into your hand. Basically, in this deck, you should be able to draw the whole pile in one turn if you do it correctly. And there are many cards to do it with. I'm not going to talk about it, but you can. The last card is a very, very control-ish card. It is Opposition. Tap an untapped creature, tap an artifact, creature, or land. So basically, if you're stuck, if you're in any kind of board stall, tap all their stuff until you find you're out. That is how you play. All right. That's it for Talrand. I hope you enjoyed him. So he's basically a reactive deck that draws a bunch of spells and eventually kills you with either really big drakes, or I can force you to draw your whole deck. It's a reactive deck. It doesn't really interact with opponents, but if you enjoy that kind of stuff, it's a good deck to play. It's not too strong. It's not a bad deck. It's not the best deck, but it's competitive, and I think you can have a lot of fun with it. So that's it for Talrand. Check out thecommandzone.com for some cool articles, more videos.